Gentrification is when higher income people move or come into a lower income community.
When a community is starting to be infiltrated by more affluent people with money, so by moving in and slowly taking over community and pushing the local, more low-income people out.
Gentrification has a particular impact on teens and preteens because I think they're more aware of it as opposed to some of our younger students that may feel the stress at home but may not necessarily understand where that's coming from.
They're being forced to move, which is, as a young child, having to have a break in your education system is traumatic. To have to leave your friends and your community and go to a whole new school because you can't afford to live in your home community anymore, that's huge. And being at school, if you're hungry or homeless or facing all of that outside, it's really hard to focus and be present in your academics as well.
I've actually had to move due to rent increasing. I had to move over here to East Palo Alto because it was like the only place where we could afford. I had to enter a new school, I had to go to a new house, so it's like I had to start my life all over again.
I'm in a situation where I might have to move myself in the near future just to try to give my kids a better space, if you will. We don't have our own space right now, so we're kind of sharing a home. And that, I'm just trying to do better so they can have what they need.
Families that I know that get sad because it's like all their memories are here, and then a lot of them have to move like hours away from their community.
The East Palo Alto residents are moving out there to Elk Grove, Sacramento, or just, Gilroy, the places that cheaper, but even out there, they're getting more expensive, so it just leaves everyone in like a place where they don't know where to be.
If you drive up and down these streets, you'll see people living in RVs. You'll see people renting out garages, renting out rooms. I'm in a similar situation, so I know how it is, and it's definitely a definite struggle, and it takes some getting used to. And people shouldn't have to get used to those circumstances. It kind of sucks because I have a master's degree. Like, I went and I prepared myself and I did everything that you're supposed to do to be able to have a good, decent life. And right now in this area, I don't think that's enough. So imagine people that didn't go to college. If I'm in that situation, imagine the situations they're in.
When you have people that you don't know moving into your community, the things that you do that are normal are scary or dangerous to them, and so then it leads to sometimes, people getting the cops called on, which in most times is very unnecessary to do.
So I see the effects of gentrification, particularly in my classroom. I mean, I see it every day working with the students and families. The number one way I think it shows up most blatantly or most obviously is with housing. So many of our families right now are struggling with housing. The rents have grown astronomically, and then some of our students don't have enough to eat. They don't have a place to lay their head, and that can create not only physical stressors, but the emotional ones as well. The students, they bring that sort of emotional trauma and impact into the classroom, and then it's understandably harder for them to learn, harder for them to concentrate because they have all of these basic needs on their mind.
I do believe there's a huge threat that one of the public schools in East Palo Alto will be closing in the near future. Gentrification is a huge issue here in East Palo Alto, and really over the last 5 years you're really seeing the negative effects. It's a double whammy for the public schools. You're losing, kids are being pushed out, so our community, our low-income families can no longer afford to live here, so we're losing enrollment, which means losing dollars for the public school. But then you're also seeing on the flip side, the students that stay in the community are becoming increasingly stressed in terms of housing insecurity, trauma. So the schools are faced with declining enrollment, which means declining funding, and then higher needs with their student population. Low-income school districts like East Palo Alto get their funding based on attendance and enrollment, whereas schools in Palo Alto and Menlo Park and Los Altos get their funding from tax base. So when you have a low-income area and you rely on state funding based on your enrollment, that's a big difference. And then if you have a district like this one that's shrunk by half in a 20-year period, you're losing half of your operating budget with the same amount of schools. So how do you maintain all of that without closing a school when you're losing your funding?
I believe the tech companies, they have the power because they have a lot of money, they have a lot of resources, where if they can pour those resources into the community, I mean, I'm sure they've done that to a certain extent, but if they can focus more on the housing crisis and how they can possibly come up with some type of solution for that, I mean, the community will have their back 100%. Right now, I have a sense that a lot of the people in the community do not like the fact that all these companies are here because it's making their life much more difficult.
When gentrification was coming into East Palo Alto, it was just a little, but you could see that it's been growing more and more. So like it's gonna grow no matter what. And then at this point it's just like outreach to people, try to get them to like to be part of like solving the problem. And it's just you're like, it's all on us, because like if we don't raise our voice, then nothing's gonna happen.
The people I think who have the power are the community members that live there. Because if you're noticing a drastic change and you're almost in a way seeing a racial divide, you're going to want to break that in a way.
Us coming together and like having the confidence, having like the energy, having like the courage, having the courage to come together and just fight for it all.
Never stop striving to be successful no matter what challenges come your way. You know, be resilient and take this as a learning lesson. See what you could do as you grow older to maybe not be in that situation yourself, or maybe help other people in that situation get out of that situation.
Kids here are brilliant and talented and amazing. They just need that equal opportunities, equal access.